Hello, everyone. Welcome to Three Wide Podcast Episode 2. Got a good one tonight. We got a whole bunch of topics. Whoa. Hold on. Already making mistakes. That's perfect. Off to a great start. So, anyway, what was that? Oh yeah, we got a whole bunch of topics to talk about. My co-host NASCAR 222 cannot make it tonight. No big deal. He promised. He said he'll be back next. He'll be here next week though. It's all good. He's finishing up schooling. So yeah, I mean that's obviously his top priority, which 100% understandable. He has to get his finals done first. So I'll let it slide this time. I'll let it slide this way, NASCAR 222. Anyway, so we have, like I said, we have a great show tonight. We got our main topic tonight, which is involving our last week's race winner, Joey Logano. We had some big thing that actually was released today, and originally our main topic today was going to be discussing the overtime line. But today that changed. So we had two surprises during the week that has just completely changed our topic, and this right here is big. I mean, so let me get right to it. So that topic I was just talking about, Joey Logano has been encumbered his win credibility after an L1 rear suspension penalty. Now, what this means is he will not get the points that he would have gotten for the hold on, I'm messing stuff up again. He's not getting the points or the automatic chase berth or playoff berth, I should say, because of this L1 penalty. However, that's not it. His crew chief Todd Gordon will be suspended for 2 races starting this week at Talladega. Also, his crew chief Todd Gordon will be fined $50,000, and Team Penske will lose 25 owner points, and Logano loses 25 driver points. That is a huge hit. Now, this right here, according to Twitter, this actually gets him out of the playoffs. He would have been in the playoffs. He's out of the playoffs in points now. I cannot confirm that 100%. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm just going by what is said by a credible source on Twitter. So a huge hit for both Team Penske and Joey Logano. But wait, there's more for the Team Penske stable. So not only was Joey Logano penalized, but there was a penalty for Brad Keselowski. That was a suspension for Paul Wolf, the crew chief for the number 2 team. They withdraw that deferral this time, and Paul Wolf will be suspended at Talladega. Wolf would also be fined $65,000. Team Penske would lose 35 more owner points. Add that to the 25 they just lost with the Joey Logano incident. And Keselowski would lose 35 drivers' points. And his Phoenix win is encumbered. So that means although he's got 2 wins technically, in points he's counting for 1 win, which of course is his first win. So, being said, it's not a good week for Team Penske, despite them getting a win this week and actually finishing a 1-2 finish. It just went from good and just nosedived for them, and that obviously is not what they wanted to see coming into here. Joey Logano thought it could, off to a great start this time. One minute. North
kicking your ass?
Yes. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Where was I at? Oh yeah, we're talking about the penalty. You know, Joe Logano getting the win and all those points and getting taken away from him just like that because of this problem. This is huge. This is huge for the 22 team, and this is obviously, like I said, this is not something that Team Penske wants to get into. You know, even though it's early, obviously it's early, the 22 team can overcome from this and probably will. But however, that's the two biggest penalties. We have another penalty. This one's for Denny Hamlin. He actually was penalized for a lug nuts not properly installed on his car at the end of the race. His crew chief, Mike Wheeler, will be fined $10,000 because of that. So, as far as I saw, no suspension for Mike Wheeler for that one, but just a fine. So, not too big of a deal for the JGR Denny Hamlin incident, but they do need to really look at this because over time it will build up if they continue with these So, now with that's passed away, or that's gone by with the penalty deals and everything. Now we have something else to talk about. The overtime line in the Xfinity Series race. That was originally going to be our main topic because of the whole controversy and the last lap of the Xfinity Series race. Now, what had happened is they were coming across, of course, you guys know the overtime line rule on the back. There's a line on the back stretch at Richmond, and if the leader gets past this overtime line, the race is official. So they get going. They get past this they get to the overtime line. They start crashing. The leader passes. The leader has passed the overtime line before the caution comes out, but after the crash has started. That's where this controversy is starting. So Larson gets by. Allgaier right behind him. Allgaier definitely had a strong car. Could potentially won this race. They get into turn 3 and 4, and then the caution comes out. Nothing Allgaier can do. Larson wins the race. This started a whole huge controversy, and now we have this big discussion over what should the overtime line be. Should it be the start-finish line? Should it be the old rule where we go to as many green-white checker attempts as we possibly need to, whether the caution comes out on a white or a yellow, or on the white or the green? That's up for discussion. I don't really know personally. I like the overtime rule, but when we keep having issues like this, I can see where there's flaws. That was the big discussion I was going to start with. Not much really to go on other than that. Just we keep having issues, and that's it. So yeah, that's so. Let me go on to our next topic because that's really all I had to say about that particular one. Not much really to go on there. I'm getting our topic in now. All right, there we go. So our next topic is the Richmond Recap. So we're going to recap the events that happened in this race. Talk about the different things that went on through the race so just to catch you guys, get up to date on what happened exactly, just in case you missed the race. So on lap 5, we had our first incident at the green flag. This involved rookie Eric Jones. He will cut a tire extremely early in the race, so he had to have had contact with somebody. So he has contact, hits the wall, out of the race on lap 5. Unfortunate situation there. Other than that, stage 1 was completely uneventful. Matt Kenseth went on, led the entire thing, and he'll win stage 1, dominates it. You would, early on, you would automatically thought, okay, Kenseth's obviously going to be the car that everyone's going to try to beat because he's got the strongest car. He's going to be the guy that everyone's going to try to get past because they know if they gets past him, there's not much Kenseth can do with that because his track is the thing about Richmond, it's almost a one-lane race. Almost, not quite, because on the restarts you'll get 3 and 4 wide. It was amazing to see 4 wide at Richmond. That was pretty cool. But Kenseth, like I said, led all stage 1. Went on. Okay, so they pit. Keselowski comes out. He goes on, takes a lead early on in stage 2, completely uneventful, and will go on and completely dominate stage 2. So Keselowski will win stage 2. So stage 2 complete. Already passed halfway through the race. So you think, okay, well, this race is going to be a boring race. You'd be wrong. Lap 343, we have our first huge incident that is actually going to be our next subject. It was between teammates Jimmie Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. So they're coming out of the corner. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is slower on the racetrack. Johnson's on the bottom side. Earnhardt Jr. is on the top of the racetrack. And as they're coming out of turn 2, either turn 2 or turn 4, I can't remember now, they come up, and Johnson comes up and completely body slams the 88 car. When it happened, people were wondering, okay, what happened here? It was obviously a spotter issue here because Johnson said that he had no idea the 88 car was there. And now what should have been the spotter's job is to tell him that car is there. There's no excuse for him to sit there and get distracted by the or not be distracted, but sit there and not know that 88 car was there, or at least not inform Jimmie that car was there. And that was a complete issue on the spotter there. And Jimmie is not to blame. Dale's not to blame there. I'm going to talk about that more later. Let's go on with this. So because of the incident there, on lap 356, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will cut a tire. That'll end his day after hitting the wall. He'll end up finished 30th position there. Lap 376, Kurt Busch and Ryan Blaney will make contact. This will cut Blaney's tire. Blaney will go on the wall. It'll end his day. So during this caution, this is a big move. This is a big move here that essentially won Joey Logano the race. Logano will pit at the last second, will dive under the box because there's no cone. He'll dive under the box, and Kyle Busch will decide to follow him, but it's too late. His tires cross the box, which is a penalty in here. It'd be the same as hitting the commitment cone. So if any of your tires make contact with the orange box, all 4 tires have to be under it in order for it to be a legal entry into pit road. And Kyle Busch failed to do that. 2 of his tires hit the box. That is a penalty. He had to go to the rear of the field, and that basically ends his possibility of winning the race. This left it clear on for Joey Logano. Logano went on to win the rest of the race, and Logano, all happy and stuff all the way up till the penalties. So Joey Logano wins the race. We get the penalties and all that. Everyone's happy in the Penske field. Like I keep saying, up till that penalty part. You think it's going to be good, and then it skyrockets. But let's go back to the Junior and Jimmie Johnson incident. So this whole, like I said, the spotter is completely to blame because there was no way that Jimmie Johnson could have seen Dale Jr. there. There's absolutely no way. It was one of the craziest things I've seen in a long time when it came to a miscommunication between a crew chief and a driver, or a spotter and a driver. So this was strange, especially coming from a team that's won 7 championships. I don't know if he's kept the same spotter through that entire time. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know he kept the same crew chief, obviously. It was Chad Knaus. But with his spotter, I don't know what's going on there. And I hope Rick Hendrick and the guys up there in the Hendrick Motorsports high up Hendrick Motorsports guys, I hope they gave a real good talking to the spotter of that, because they don't need more wrecked race cars. Jimmie Johnson's won 2 races in a row, granted, but you got to keep that consistency up if you're going to win this championship. I mean, of all teams, they should know this. So definitely the spotter has to get talking to. People are saying that they should fire the spotter. I think it's a little extreme. That was just a mistake. But that was kind of a big costly mistake. So here is your Richmond top 10. So here's your top 10 finishers at Richmond. Of course, your winner was Joey Logano. Second place, Brad Keselowski. Third was Denny Hamlin. 4th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That was a surprising one right there. I'll talk about the Stenhouse here in a second. But Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 4th, 5th, Kevin Harvick, 6th, Jamie McMurray, 7th, Ryan Newman, 8th, Kurt Busch, 9th, Eric Almirola, and 10th, Martin Truex Jr. So that was your top 10. I mean, other than the dullness that was stage 2 and most of stage 1, it was a good race. I mean, like I said, on the restarts, we had 3 and 4 wide. I liked it. I thought it was good racing. I'm excited for next week. But, it was a good race. Basically what you would expect from a typical Richmond race. I personally, I prefer the Richmond fall race, the chase race. Entertaining because there's a lot more on the line there. Granted, it's not a or the Richmond. I said that 2 weeks in a row now. The Richmond Richmond fall race or whatever it is, but the second Richmond race, that one. In my personal opinion, that one's better. But we'll see here. We'll see how this goes through the coming years. Yeah, I mean Richmond. I mean, other than those big topics there, the penalty, the off-track penalty is definitely the biggest discussion to talk about. Really on-track situations, other than the whole Johnson and Dale Jr. thing, there's not much left to get out of this, and the penalty with Kyle Busch. The Kyle Busch post-race interview, he didn't want to do it because, it's Kyle Busch. After he gets angry with stuff like this, he doesn't like to have post-race interviews. I mean, understandably so, but we see it all the time with Kyle Busch. Every time any type of on-track incident happens with him, he can get away from the media, other than the media center, which I think is required by NASCAR. Otherwise, you'll face a penalty, which I think he's even avoided that a couple times. And you can't do that because people are going to want an explanation as to what on your side, what happened on your side, and you can't just run away from that. That's kind of a sad thing to do, really, because there's people, at this point, their audience is mostly coming from television, especially with the drop in attendance that's been happening over those last couple seasons. And people are going to want to know what's happened, and I get it if tensions are high, you're not happy, you're angry. I get it, but come on, dude, you gotta at least acknowledge it a little bit. So that was kind of stupid. He goes on there. He goes, so the guy interviewing, which I can't remember who it was at this point. And he asks, okay, so what happened with the whole penalty thing? And he goes, balls and strikes, and goes out like that's supposed to mean something. And that was a little annoying. And you can't. I apologize about the background noise. You can't just do that. So, irritating. But let me go back to the Stenhouse thing now. I'm jumping all over the place here because I'm kind of scrambling for stuff to talk about right now because, like I said, on track there wasn't much to talk about. So let me talk about the Stenhouse and Roush Racing deal. I've been impressed with Roush Racing this season, Stenhouse in particular. They have been on top of things, and I could expect Stenhouse to possibly be up there going for a win. I talked to him on Twitter. He thinks that they could get a win this year. I don't think they're quite there yet. I think they're getting close. Not quite there yet. Trevor Bayne, he can now. I don't think he's up there winning yet. He's up there as well. So I wouldn't take out Trevor Bayne in this conversation as well. So those two cars have just been pretty. I mean, they've been pretty good. So I expect Stenhouse to be up there, looking for more top 10s, more top 5s. And if he gets, expect more from him. So basically all I got to say about that right there at the moment. With the whole Stenhouse and Roush thing, expect more from them. That one is just, wait to see what comes, because they're strong. They're a very strong team. At one point they were a superpower. They had at one point 6 cars. At one time they had a part-time 6 car with 5 cars, and they were a superpower. They won the championship in 04 and 03, back-to-back championships with Kenseth and Kurt Busch, and that's actually, ironically enough, that was the last Ford championship to date in the Cup Series. The Series championship actually might have won a couple of this in that time frame between 2004 and current. They won with Chris Buescher, I know that, in the Xfinity Series. So, they've got a pretty good future for Roush Racing between the drivers they got right now and potentially Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace, he's going to get in the Cup within the next couple of years, at least I'd hope. You expect a lot from him. Roush Racing does not want him to slip under the cracks and lose him like they potentially did with the Chris Buescher. Even though Chris Buescher, granted, he didn't do much with the Front Row Racing development team for Roush, and he ended up going to JGD Doherty Racing, but they don't want to lose that again, and they especially don't want to do that with Bubba Wallace or even another one of their development drivers like Ryan Reed. They lose too many drivers to other teams, and then they end up being good drivers. They do this all the time. They do it they're real bad with it, and Richard Childress Racing is real bad with it as well. Because Childress, he's lost so many good drivers over time because of decisions made by RCR or just waiting too long to pick somebody up and then losing them altogether. Jason Leffler, if I'm not mistaken here, they did it with Jason Leffler, and Leffler, I think what burdened him in his stock car career is he was not with the best equipment. He had decent equipment, but he didn't have the best equipment. And if he was with RCR, he could have been a force to reckon with. Eventually they would lose Harvick after he leaves Harvick, or after Harvick leaves RCR. He wins a championship with Stewart-Haas Racing. I know RCR is kicking themselves for that. They ended up picking Paul Menard, who I'm not going to say he was a bust because he ended up getting an Indy win. But they could have potentially picked up so many people that were potentially better in that time, and they don't want to do that with like Daniel Hemrick or even some drivers that are not really with them yet, but with some affiliates like Ty Dillon. I'd imagine they're not going to leave Ty Dillon because RCR or Rich Childress being his grandfather. But deal passes, I would almost expect Ty Dillon to not to take it because he wants his career to go up, and if he gets into talks for saying this is probably not going to happen, this is kind of a hypothetical thing, but say he gets offered for the 5 car for Hendrick Motorsports because Rick Hendrick decided to not renew Casey Kane's contract. Saying this is going to happen, I'm just making this an example. Ty Dillon does not accept that only because family owns RCR. He as a driver, he wants to have the best for his own career, not just stay in the family. There's no doubt that he would have say Roush wants to get a 3rd car. Say they want to bring that 16 or the 99 car, and say they offer Ty Dillon something. Now they're going once again hypothetical, probably not going to happen, but say it did. Once again, Ty Dillon could take that job. He could take that ride, and why wouldn't he? He's with a driver. He's with a that is technically top tier because they're not a development team for another one, like say Wood Brothers Racing, or the current team is with Germain Racing for that certain for that equipment. Is it the best equipment? No, but it's better than what he's at now. A top 10 for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That right there just gives it away. Germain Racing, they got what, a top 15 or 2, and that's it. So, there's no guarantee that somebody's going to stay with your franchise forever, and that's why I think Roush has an issue, or that's why I think that's my biggest issue with Roush, I should say. To drivers, expect them to stay and stay and stay, and when they leave, they don't have anyone probably to fall back on. They happened with Chris Buescher. Buescher was front row motorsports development team for RC or for Roush Fenway Racing. He slips under the cracks or slips through the cracks and goes to JTG Doherty Racing. Big loss for Roush. We won't know now, but that's definitely a big loss for Roush. So after that happened, they got to I don't know. I'm frustrated myself with this because there's not much there's not much more to say on that. I'm trying to add to it because it's something that needs to be discussed about. It's something that's not talked about quite a bit. Is the success that's happened with RCR and my fears with RCR, because RCR are, why do I keep wanting to say RCR? Roush could have something big here with Stenhouse. They could have something big with Trevor Bayne, and with their drivers that they have going up. Darrell Wallace Jr. He's gotten 6 place finishes in a row now, or not in a row, but 6 place finishes in general. Like what, 7 or 8 now? The dude's ready for Cup. I mean, has he gotten, has he been like up there, winning moves in the Xfinity Series yet? No, but it's for what they got right now. They don't want him to slip under the cracks. Why not give him a shot? They have plenty of money. They have plenty of potential to bring the 99 or the 16 back. They just haven't done it yet. I would like to see them do it in 2018. I'd like to see them add another car, especially with them getting speed again. With them speeding up right now. Hopefully they can use this for momentum, because this could they could have something big here with Bubba Wallace. They could have something big here with Ryan Reed. In fact, maybe at some point they could bring those 2 guys in for 2 more Fenway cars. That's in a couple years ahead, obviously, but it could happen. Ryan Reed's got Lilly Diabetes going with them, so they got sponsorship. That's nothing to worry about. With Bubba Wallace, they got you got talent there. You got sponsors that will definitely go and pick them up, because there's no reason they wouldn't. I mean, even the sponsors that were with Biffle before, like Cheez-It, who's to say they don't come back? I mean, there's a chance they won't, because it'll be a couple years by that point. But who's to say they don't come back? Who's to say they don't get sponsors that were previously with them, or that sponsors that will be leaving Hendrick Motorsports once Dale Jr. leaves? Remember, Dale Jr., he's got nationwide insurance. There's no guarantee where Nationwide's going next year right now. They haven't said. I mean, we don't know who's going to be driving the potentially 88, potentially 25 car. I'd like to see it number 25. Just saying. We talked about that a little bit last week. If you guys want to see that conversation, go back and look to episode 1. We talk about the Earnhardt Jr. retiring, who we think will replace him, who I think could potentially replace him, the situation with that, and what Hendrick Motorsports options are there. If you guys want to hear that conversation, go back to episode 1. But so I don't want to get too much in that, because I already talked about it. But you got, it kind of goes back to it, because I mean, I watched the episode Griff Talks by the YouTube channel Griff Dog. Great YouTube channel, by the way. I highly suggest it. It's one of the top tier YouTube channels right now that you can go back and watch and see weekly, and kind of expect a video from every week. He's talking about how Bubba Wallace could be a potential guy in there, and at first when he said that, I was like, I don't see it. But then I went back and thought about it. I was like, you know what? Maybe so. Bubba Wallace with no sponsorship, really. He's driving around in a car that says Ford on the front of it. That's basically zero sponsorship on that car. Which, 10 years ago, you wouldn't think you would ever hear that about any type of Roush affiliate car. And now we're at that point where it's sad. So Roush is struggling still, but I'm not going to take everything away from them because they're getting momentum. They need to. They need the momentum. It really is helping them. I mean, RCR is getting momentum too. I mean, they have a win this year. Who would have thought this year that you would say Racer Childress Racing has a win in 2017 with Ryan Newman behind the wheel? If somebody asked me, even at the end of the 2016 season, or even Daytona 500 after the Daytona 500, if somebody asked me, is RCR going to get a win this year, I would have told them straight up, no. And right now, I'm saying the same thing with Roush Fenway Racing. NASCAR 222 disagrees with me. He disagrees with me here, and I can see why, because the momentum. I just don't think it's there yet. It's the same with Eric Jones. I don't think it's quite there yet for him, but maybe this year it could be the year. This could be the big thing. So it's kind of up in the air at the moment. Kind of, it's just anyone's guess what's going to happen here. But another one I want to talk about that finished in the top 10 here at Richmond is 9th place Eric Almirola. So that was a big name that stuck out to me right there with Almirola. You don't usually see the number 43 car up there saying, "Oh man, he's getting top 10 finishes," and I'm happy to see that. I really am. Richard Petty Racing, that's another team that used to be on top of the world when it came to NASCAR. I mean, literally, it's owned by the king of NASCAR, and over time they just fell apart. And they're kind of in the same boat as, and I don't like to say that, but it's true. It really is true. And I grew up with a rivalry between me and family members between Hendrick versus Roush. This is back when both teams were battling each other for the championship every single year. And so maybe I'm a little biased. I try not to be in these things. I'm absolutely trying not to be biased in these things. I do the best I can with it. I mean, you can't 100% get away from that. But I'm also not going to use that as an excuse saying, "Oh, that's my reason for talking trash." I'm not going to talk trash on any race team on here. You guys will never hear that from me. Maybe a rant. I'll talk about bad moves from different teams and stuff, but that's not necessarily talking crap. That's just saying, they did something wrong. So I want to get that away right away. Now, since we're early in this podcast's existence, I want to get that off the way right now. This is going to be the main point of this is a NASCAR news and opinion thing, but not a biased one. I mean, every news source is going to be biased no matter what it is, no matter what sports or mainstream media or any type of media. Even on YouTube here, you got the main source medias here like Scarce and Drama Alert and Philip DeFranco and those, but they're all biased in some way, and we're going to be here. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I chose NASCAR 222 as my co-host, because they kind of neutralize each other. I'm the Hendrick guy. He's the Penske guy. That's kind of how it is. And that's one of the reasons why I chose NASCAR 222 here. Plus, I feel like he's just a great addition to it. And I'm excited to see when we get both in here. Like I said, earlier, school obviously is the key factor, or is obviously the key thing to worry about. So there's no reason to like backlash or anything like that. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited to get this thing all the way on the road, getting a 222 in here. I'm excited for to how this goes. When we get more viewers, I'm gonna keep promoting it here on Twitter. I'm gonna love this, and I'm kind of making like a little buffer here. So I'm just kind of talking here. We're making a little buffer between Richmond, and Talladega. Because the next thing I'm going to start talking about is I'm going to start about Talladega. Talk about things to watch here. Things to talk about Talladega. Driver averages. That's another thing I'm going to do every week. So I'm going to talk about the driver averages and the top guys up there to watch from the upcoming race. So that's another thing to expect. And so be ready for that. And Talladega, it's Talladega. You know, it's going to be anyone's race. Anyone with a good, with a decent running car, and has a solid draft can win Talladega. That's all it takes, really. Just staying out of trouble, being up there when it counts. So actually, let's get into Talladega now. So with Talladega, we'll start it off with our last winner at Talladega in the Cup Series was Joey Logano. 2016 Chase race. He could possibly do it again. Again, he won't have his regular crew chief that could potentially hurt him. Neither him or Brad Keselowski will have their crew chiefs at the racetrack. So that's kind of a like a little roadblock there. So, and if they can get past that, though, Team Penske is always really strong at the plate track. So really expect the 2 and a 22 to be again, as long as they keep it out of trouble. And that's going with anybody. As long as they keep it out of trouble, they could be up there. They can possibly win the race. So let's go to their average finishes at Talladega. This is surprising to me how some of these guys up here are really surprised. It's really surprising. But once again, you know, it is it's a crapshoot essentially. Here's your top 10 driver averages for you guys who are in a fantasy racing leagues. Number 1 in driver averages is actually tied for 1 and 2. Busch and Chase Elliott with an 0.5. That's really strong. I mean, it's pretty strong for Talladega, you know, where you can be running top 5 1 minute, and then your race is done in 35th. So, you know, pretty good for 8.5. I mean, Chase Elliott, like I said last year, that's mainly because he's got a really limited amount of races. He's been there, so it's kind of unfair to compare him with Kurt Busch, who's been in this sport for well over 10 years. You can't really, you know, do that. So, but I mean, that's just the way it is right now. The number is 8.5. Driver average finish is the highest of the two of the active drivers currently. So number 3 is Kevin Harvick. He's got a 11.25 average finish. He so you know quite a bit of gap between the top 2 and Kevin Harvick, who's in 3rd. And then 3rd place is the biggest surpriser one on here. 4th place average finish here at Talladega is Paul Menard with an average finish of 12th place. And there's 2 things that stick out to me. One, I'm surprised Dale Jr. isn't up there in the top 3 or 4. And 2, Paul Menard of all drivers is up there. And Paul Menard, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because he's a force to be reckoned with at the plate tracks. He's one of those drivers who just has it down. But it's still surprising to me that he's up there. But I'm also impressed he's up there. He's kind of flying under the radar, and he could be a driver to pick here this weekend at Talladega. One that nobody else is going to pick. So nobody else is really going to pick him out there unless they're looking at the driver averages. So maybe that's one you can do for a shot in the dark for you fantasy guys out there. So 5th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with an average finish of 14th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. probably, I could see him getting up there gaining once again. That team's got momentum. Top 5 potentially could be up there battling for the win here at Talladega. 6th is Kyle Busch with an average of 14.33. He's actually tied with 7th place Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a 14.33. Surprised Dale Jr. is not up there more because of all the wins he's got at Talladega. He's got the most wins out of any active driver, but I guess some bad finishes is really what's dipping him down to a 14th. So 88 car plate track's definitely one guy you never want to count against. So that's a given automatically. I mean, the dude, anytime they're in Daytona or Talladega, the guy is always up there going for the top 10. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's why he's here kind of in the middle of the top 10s. 8th place is Joey Logano with an average finish of 15th. Obviously, like I said, he's the last winner there at Talladega in the Cup Series. Can he do it two races in a row? Possibly. He just have to do it with a different crew chief. Ryan Newman's in number 9th there with an average of 15.25, and he's tied with 10th place, which is Austin Dillon with the same number. So those two, Austin Dillon, you got to remember with Dillon, he's run there. He's run full time in the Cup Series since 2014, but he's also substituted for Tony Stewart in 2013 when Tony Stewart was injured with a broken leg. Austin Dillon ran there, ended up crashing on the last lap, but still was running pretty good and ended up getting a decent finish, I believe, because of a lot of cars were already out of the race at that point. So that is your top 10 averages there. Once again, it is Kurt Busch, Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick, Paul Menard, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Joe Logano, Ryan Newman, and Austin Dillon. That is your top 10. And for right now, that is all the topics I have. Actually, yeah, it is. It's all the topics I have for today, but I don't want to end it quite yet. I want to talk to you guys a little bit. What to expect on this channel. Or not so much these channels, but these streams. What to see out of here, and what you guys should expect here. I'm going to talk here for maybe about 20 minutes because, like I said, I'm going to try to make these an hour long, at least an hour to an hour and a half. That's what I'm going to try to do. So we got another 20 minutes to spare here. So I want to talk about what we're going to do here. So we're going to stay consistent here. Thursdays at 9 o'clock Eastern. So whatever time that would be for you guys. For me, it's 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. I'm in the Mountain Time Zone. I was about to call it Central, but I'm in the Mountain Time Zone, so it's 7 o'clock for me. That's why I have it kind of late. For you guys on the East Coast is because I live more towards the West Coast. I gotta have a time for me where I can have it at a decent time, but not too late, but not too early, because I also have school. I have college to go through. So I have to kind of meet in the middle there, which means I gotta sacrifice and make it a little bit late for you guys, but it's not too late for you guys. I'm not trying to make it like you guys. I mean, that'd be 10 o'clock, or that'd be like 9 o'clock for me anyway. But I'm trying to make compromises here. So you guys definitely tell me in the comment section what you guys think of this time. Do you guys like the time zone? Do you guys like the day? I want to keep it on Thursdays. That way we have enough time to get information from the previous week. Like for example, this one. We didn't find out about the penalty for Joey Logano until today. So that's why I like to have it back till Thursday. But it's also giving us enough time to preview the week before, and we have some things to talk about before the week starts, and kind of flip back and forth like that between the week before and the week ahead. So that way we can we have something to talk about when it's that weekend all combined together, and then we're not dipping into that week. Like, for example, say if we did it on Friday, you already got practices going and potential issues with practices, penalties being released and stuff like that. Or not penalties being released, but issues and people going to backup cars and stuff like that already. If that happens, I want to go into that week, the same week that is with the rest of the races, instead of having, this just happened. Tune in next week to see how the result is. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to leave you guys with cliffhangers and stuff like that. Other than stuff that obviously nobody knows, because that's like the week ahead. Like for example, Dale Jr. thing. It's a cliffhanger to everybody because we don't know what's going to happen. Hendrick Motorsports, I don't even know if they know what's going on with that yet. I mean, they probably do. They're just not going to release it until near the end of the season, like they did with Jeff Gordon. With Jeff Gordon's thing, they revealed towards the end of the season, like in September, that Chase Elliott was going to replace it, even though everyone speculated that already as it is. And they released it when they revealed Chase Elliott's Napa car for 2016, which was kind of a weird way of doing it, but whatever. I don't know. That'd be kind of a weird thing to start ranting about because it's like 2 years ago. But so that's why I chose Thursday at 7 o'clock my time. I mean 9 o'clock Eastern. I got to start saying that. Start saying 9 o'clock Eastern instead of 7 o'clock my time. So it compromises everybody. It benefits everybody. It's 6 o'clock on the West Coast, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. It's late for the East Coast, but not super late. Not to the point where it's like, why would you do that? So, I like it. I like this time zone. I probably want to keep it like this. Definitely want to follow me on Twitter and probably NASCAR222 on Twitter. Follow us both on Twitter because we're going to give updates if something has to change or something like that. Also, keep in mind, I upload on my regular channel on Tuesdays. So between that and this on Thursdays, I gotta kind of make the balance there where I'm not putting everything all on one day when it comes to both channels, and it's that way I have the upload on Tuesday and I have stuff to get ready so I can give it on Thursday. This on Thursday, and so of those two things, you got not kind of like leaning in on one thing, and that's why that's another reason why I chose on Thursday. On Thursdays, I think it's a good time. Just definitely let me know what you guys think about it. Personally, I think, like I said, I think it's a good time. 1 minute. Oh, hello, Dancing Yeti. We are currently in at about. We're definitely like I said, we're 46 minutes in. We've got about another 15 minutes of streaming to go. So this is something to expect every single Thursday, every week, and we're going to do it by seasons. So how this will work is, notice on the playlist it says 3 Wide Podcast Season 1. We're going to have it by season with the actual NASCAR series. So but every season after this is going to have 36 videos. Actually more than that, because we're going to do the off season as well. So except for like holidays and stuff, like we're not going to do like Christmas or any of that if it happens to fall on a Thursday. But like, say because there's always news that happens on the off season. But like, so I mean, I don't know how many weeks there is in between the November they get off until in February speed weeks, or until the Thursday of the Daytona 500. However many Thursdays that is, that is the add that to 36, and that's how many episodes the series is going to have, minus this one, which has got a late start to this season. So that's just something to expect from here. It's going to be something cool. To tune into every week, and I think it's something that a lot of people are going to enjoy. I enjoy doing them. I think they're fun to do. I'm excited to keep going with this and carry on through the time of discussing what stuff is happening in the racing community, what stuff is speculated to happen, rumors, all that. Now, keep in mind, before I do all these streams, I always go back. I look on like J-Ski, Drivers Averages, and that's where I got all my information for this. And I write it up on a script, and I try to predict how much time each section of each section of the script, or the not really a script actually, because I'm not like reading off of it, but topics, I guess. Each topic, how long that topic is going to take. For example, like say, oh, I think this topic is going to take 10 minutes. If I undershoot that, which is kind of what I did tonight, that's why I'm kind of just rambling here. If I undershoot it, then I have a bunch of extra space here. Like I have another 10 minutes here before the scheduled off time, or it's the shortest amount of time off, because I'm going to make these an hour to an hour and a half. No more than an hour and a half, no less than an hour. That's my goal with all these. That way we have a little bit of consistency, but we have a little bit of a bubble. That way we don't have we're not trying to like stop mid sentence here. We have we have at least 30 more minutes to get to our final conclusions, our final points, our everything like that. And as time, when I think we're really not going to have this little like buffer, just random talking when 222 gets in here because we're actually going to be talking back and forth with it. We're probably going to be debating with each other quite a bit off, actually, which is cool with me. I love debating with stuff like this. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be next week. I guarantee is going to be one of our best podcasts this season. So NASCAR 222 will be in next week, and we will. He said he's got a lot of stuff to rant about, which kind of makes sense because we're probably going to catch up over what has happened over the last 2 weeks. Being a Penske fan, he's probably going to talk about these two penalties that's happened, and this big gap that Penske is in now in owner points, and this could definitely affect them throughout the rest of the season. I don't know where they were at owner points before this came out. I completely forgot about the whole the Brad Keselowski appeal. So I forgot about that. I forgot that even happened. And this came in, and it was just like the final kill blow for the kill blow. I don't know what that even was for Penske Racing this week because they already had the penalty for the 22 issue. They come into this. Next thing you know, the 2 cars appeal is over. Wow, that was they're hurting right now in points, and that's not what they want. And like I said earlier, they're going into this with 2 completely different crew chiefs than they had the rest of this regular season because of these penalties. Now, with they said they got rid of the win and end thing. They really didn't because of the whole playoff point thing. And when you get around to it, and you get around to it, and you look at everything, really, it's not changing much because the whole playoff thing is really getting you an edge above everyone else who doesn't have the playoff points. And so really, over time, it's going to become the same thing, just with a little bit less gradual incline in drivers walking their way in. So the what was I getting at with that? So I was going to look up the point system. Actually, I knew I was going to forget something. I was going to look up the current points to see where the 22 is exactly in points currently, because I have no idea. I believe they're under the cutoff line. Actually, I'm pretty sure they are. And because of this is a huge blow to them. Keselowski, they had 2 wins to fall back on. One of their wins is now encumbered. The other one is now the only one they have to fall back on. So they're not hurt nearly as bad as the 22 team was. But it's still got to be. It could be huge in the long run, especially for them because now you're going to have multiple winners throughout this thing. We already got another repeat winner, Jimmie Johnson. Won 2 races in a row before Richmond. So we got teams that are strong enough, and NASCAR's well. So I'll forget that for now. And I don't think that this is going to hurt the 2 team too bad. But there's the potential. That's the scariest part about this with them. And that potential they have to worry about at the moment. I'm sure not too worried. Talladega is a pretty good track to Brad. I don't know. I think they'd be all right. But, we got 5 minutes left in here. We got 5 more minutes here. I'm going to start closing this up here in a minute. I want to appreciate anyone who comes in here and watches, comes in here, just listen to me ramble. We're going to have a lot of fun here on this channel. This is something to be excited for, something to look forward to in the week, and I want this to be like a little bit of a relief for what's going on, something to discuss. Yeah, and really, I hope you guys really do enjoy this. I really do. Once again, when momentum starts picking up with this, not like numbers or anything like that, but like in like conversations to talk about, and the activity on here is starting to pick up, we're gonna have a lot more fun on here. And this is like every YouTube channel or even podcast, every other podcast on here. They start slow, and over time, they start to gain traction. And when we start doing that, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna have a lot of conversations on here. You guys are gonna enjoy it, and yeah. For more updates on what's going on with the channel and stuff, like I said earlier, follow me on Twitter and follow NASCAR222 on Twitter. We're going to give updates on there. At least I am. NASCAR222. I mean, if something like big is happening, they'll probably, I mention on there too. So make sure you follow us both on there to get updates on there. Double the updates, just in case you missed one of them. Kind of a shameless plug there. I'm trying to cover it up. So, there's not much left to go on here. I feel like the last 20 minutes or so I've been just rambling. I've been rambling on here, what to look forward here on stuff like that. And yeah, so I think I'm going to conclude this with a little recap of what we talked about today on this page, just to sum it up a little bit. Just to sum it back up. Your top 10 at Richmond. Yeah, your top 10 at Richmond was Logano, Keselowski, Hamlin, Stenhouse, Harvick, McMurray, Newman, Kurt Busch, Almirola, and Truex. And your top 10 driver averages: Kurt Busch, Harvick, Paul Menard, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Joey Logano, Ryan Newman, and Austin Dillon. So there you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed it so much. Enjoyed this, as much as I like making these. I hope you guys enjoy it, because in the long run, I'm making these things for everyone in here who comes in, who tunes in and wants to have a nice conversation about racing, about NASCAR, So I really hope you guys enjoyed today. They're going to get more entertaining as time goes, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. So I'm going to close it off here. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on Twitter, like I said, at Brent_Cox_3. Follow NASCAR222 at NASCAR222_. Those are both on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, which you can click on the channel's main dashboard, or whatever it's called. You'll look over, it says our host channels. Subscribe to both of those channels there. I have an upload coming out every Tuesday, so expect one this Tuesday. I think you guys will really enjoy it. I'm already been working on it, about halfway through editing it. Yeah, so expect a pretty good video this next Tuesday. I'm not going to give you any hints or anything like that of what it's going to be. You guys just going to have to wait. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Another good podcast. I'll see you guys next week, where we get our co-host here. See you guys next week.